All right, so you've seen that huge list of Google Cloud tools and thought, how on earth does all of this fit together? Well, today, we're going to cut right through that confusion. We're taking that giant menu of services and actually building something with it. A clear, powerful data pipeline architecture. So let's just follow the data and build this thing piece by piece.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? It's the whole reason we're here. You've got mountains of data pouring in from everywhere. User clicks, sales reports, sensor readings. It's messy, it's raw. So how do you transform all that chaos into something that actually helps you make smart decisions? The answer, my friends, is a well-designed data pipeline.
And to really get our heads around that pipeline, we're just going to follow a simple four-step journey. This is the path the data itself takes. First, we'll see how it's collected. Then, where it gets stored. After that, how it's processed. And finally, how we analyze it and automate the whole shebang. It's a really logical flow that makes the whole thing much easier to understand. Okay, first up, step 1, collection. I want you to think of this as the loading dock for your entire data operation. Before you can do any of the cool stuff, you have to get the data into the system. You have to get it off the truck, right? This first crucial step is called ingestion. Now, our loading dock basically has two main doors. On one side, you've got batch ingestion. This is for the big, scheduled deliveries. You know, the truck that shows up every morning with yesterday's sales reports. On the other side, you've got streaming ingestion. This is like a constant live feed of packages arriving one by one. Every user click, every social media post, every little ping from a sensor. So what tools does GCP give us to handle all these deliveries? Well, for those big batch files, you've got a super handy command line tool called gsutil that just zips files right into Google Cloud Storage. For the real-time stuff, PubSub is your go-to message queue. If you've got an absolutely massive fire hose of data, you can use Kafka. And hey, if you're someone who prefers a more visual, drag-and-drop way of building things, there's Cloud Data Fusion for that.
Okay, the data is off the truck and inside the building. Now it needs a place to go. So welcome to step 2, the warehouse. And just like any good warehouse, we've got different sections for different kinds of inventory.
The very first stop for our data is Google Cloud Storage, or GCS. Think of this as the big, messy bulk storage area in the back. It's the raw landing zone where you just dump everything exactly as it arrived. All the CSVs, logs, images, you name it. It's incredibly cheap, super durable, and absolutely perfect for just holding on to data before you've done anything to it. But let's be real. You don't do your analysis in the messy back room. No way. For that, you need the clean, organized, perfectly labeled shelves of BigQuery. Once the data has been cleaned up and transformed, it lands here. BigQuery is this incredible serverless data warehouse built for ridiculously fast queries. It's the perfect home for all your data that's ready for reporting and analysis. And this just shows how crucial it is to pick the right tool for the job. So yeah, GCS is for your raw data, BigQuery is for your analytics. But what if you have something different? What if you have, say, financial transactions that need to be perfectly consistent all over the globe? That's Spanner. Or what if you have just insane amounts of data from IoT devices that you need to read in a split second? That's what Bigtable is for. It's all about using the right storage for the right workload. Okay, so we've collected the data and we've stored it. Now for the fun part. This is where we turn those raw materials into a valuable finished product. Welcome to step 3, processing, our data assembly line. So let's take a look at the machinery on this assembly line. You've got your familiar tools, right? You can use Python for custom scripts or just use good old SQL right inside BigQuery. But for the really heavy-duty, large-scale jobs, GCP gives you two absolute powerhouses. Dataproc, which is for managed Spark and Hadoop, and Dataflow for serverless data processing. So how in the world do you choose between them? It's actually pretty simple. If you have a massive historical job to run and your team already knows and loves Spark, Dataproc is perfect. It just gives you a cluster to do your thing. But if you want a more modern, hands-off approach that can handle both batch and streaming data in the same pipeline without you managing servers, then Dataflow is your answer. And look, this isn't just theory. Here's a quote from a real project. They use Dataflow for their everyday streaming and batch needs, but when they had to process a giant pile of historical data, they just spun up a Dataproc cluster to knock it out. It's a perfect example of using both tools for what they do best. We have made it to the final step. Our data has been collected, stored, and processed. It's all polished up and ready for its big debut. This is step 4, the showroom, where we see the value and, just as important, the control room, where we make sure this entire factory runs like clockwork. This is the payoff. This is why we did all that work.
The whole point of building this entire pipeline is to take that clean, processed data and turn it into real, tangible business value, whether that's a dashboard, a key report, or a powerful machine learning model. And the tools for this part are just fantastic. Your analysts can run lightning-fast SQL queries right in BigQuery. Your business folks can build their own beautiful dashboards in Looker Studio. And your data scientists, they can use Vertex AI to build and deploy some seriously sophisticated ML models right on top of all that data. But, a fancy showroom is completely useless if the assembly line keeps breaking down. And that brings us to the control room. In here, the goal is 100% automation and monitoring. We want this pipeline to be rock solid and reliable, always. And here are the 3 pillars that hold up that control room. First, you schedule everything with Cloud Composer. That's Google's managed version of the super popular tool, Airflow. Second, you collect every single log with Cloud Logging, so debugging is easy. And third, you use Cloud Monitoring to keep an eye on the pipeline's health and send you alerts if anything goes wrong. These 3 together give you a complete audit trail, which is absolutely critical for things like security and HIPAA compliance. So we've walked through all 4 stages, we've seen all the pieces. Now let's put it all together. Let's zoom out and look at the final blueprint for our complete data pipeline. And there it is, the complete picture. You can see the batch data coming in through gsutil into GCS, while the streaming data flows through PubSub. All of it gets processed by Dataflow and Dataproc, lands safely in BigQuery, ready for analysis with Looker Studio or Vertex AI, and the whole thing is conducted like an orchestra by Cloud Composer. Every single piece has its perfect place. And when you put these pieces together in this logical way, that's when you get the real benefits. This isn't just a random collection of services, it is a system. A system designed from the ground up to be efficient, to scale up when you need it, and to be reliable and secure. It's built for the real world. So, we've laid out the blueprint for how you can turn raw data into real insight. It's an incredibly powerful and flexible architecture that you can take and adapt for whatever you're working on. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?